Hello, my name is Meerah, and I'm a Lorekeeper in one of Yog's Lost libraries. And today's gonna be a long one, guys. Buckle up. But today, I wanted to talk about Woosa and Maegu, the new twin classes in Black Desert. I'll be covering the lore from both of their succession questlines, as well as all the current lore videos from the Black Desert website. As you can imagine, I'm not really used to working with this much information, so it is a bit longer than my usual. So bear with me, it's a really cool story, and I am excited to tell it to you guys. The twins were born in the year 3973, 25th under Yongzhong's reign, 2nd month, 29th day. This was a day when neither sun nor moon saw fit to grace the sky. About a month later, after the children were born, the king would speak to his minister, Ikyun, who was also his father-in-law, to talk about how the children were cursed by the gods, essentially, and that a calamity would strike their community if the children were spared. He ordered his minister to destroy all records of the queen even becoming pregnant or giving birth at all. But Ikyun begged him to reconsider, as the princesses are still the king's children and the minister's grandchildren. So he was like, please don't kill them. The king agrees to this, and he's like, yeah, I must be fucking going crazy. I don't know why I was thinking of that. But obviously they can't stay here because of the curse. He tells his minister Ikyun that the only place left for the children that they could go would be Hwadam's Wudo school, where they could grow up and train and live their lives despite their apparent birthright curse. Moving forward, as the girls grew, Woosa was to be sent on an important mission involving a Blackstone. So Blackstones were known to the people of the Land of the Morning Light and of the southern continent's use of them for fuel and processing and such, but their use in the Land of the Morning Light is strictly prohibited. The reason for this is speculated to be that the effects of the stones are reminiscent of the Black Death, a plague which devastated the Land of the Morning Light 40 years prior to the events of this story. Our scene begins at the Hwadam Wudo school. A girl named Hyun has become the inheritor and young master of the school, and so she stands next to the headmaster of Hwadam when a king's messenger shows up with a confidential order from His Royal Highness. He says that Blackstone corruption has become rampant to the point to where the royalty could no longer ignore it, and it's poisoning the people and disrupting the balance of the land, and something has to be done about it. So the king has tasked the most elite dough wielders to investigate and hopefully mitigate the problem. Hwadam immediately entrusts this task to Hyun, reminding her that this would not be an easy investigation, since the Blackstones were being traded only in small quantities in secret among the wealthy. He also tells her that they really have to hurry before the Dwado school interferes. Hwadam brings up Hyun's sister, whom she calls Yoon, and a traitor, because Yoon is also a member of the Dwado school, and Dwado and Wudo do not get along. They don't like each other at all. After a time, the investigation finally turns up a lead, and Woosa follows that lead to a place in the mountains where a Blackstone trade is actually taking place. Woosa succeeds in taking down those that are negotiating the trade, aside from the head advisor, when her sister Maegu interferes, as Hwadam predicted that the Dwado school would. The twin sisters fight, and the eldest sister Maegu snatches the Blackstone. The Blackstone transport both sisters to different locations. Maegu is sent to Blood Wolves. We aren't really shown where Woosa is sent, but they both fight their respective mobs and then are teleported back to their original location. After this, the advisor who was facilitating the trade of the Blackstone reveals themselves to be a nine-tailed fox, and the twins end up fighting them, and Maegu, or Eun, ends up escaping with the Blackstone. After they return to their respective schools, Eun brags to one of her fellow Dwado members, Brother Jin, about how shocked her sister was to see her, and how she wished she could have memorialized the look on her face. Here it is revealed that Eun, or Maegu, is the High Menorah of the Dwado school, making her in a similar station of power as her sister is at the Wudo school. A younger member bursts into the room while Jin and Eun are having their conversation and tells them that the test subject, the one they've been experimenting on with the Blackstone they just brought back, has started convulsing. Ayun is immediately just curious. She's not concerned or anything. She's like, oh, are its eyes turning red? Jin is a lot more cautious, and he's like, already? Like, we should wait until Master gets back before we progress any further, right? But Ayun would not be persuaded. They go to check the subject, and their eyes indeed have turned red, and instead of waiting for their master to proceed, Ayun goes ahead and casts an incantation to draw out the black spirit that has been currently cultivated in the test subject. Maegu is surprised to see that a black spirit actually exists, and it like zips around the room and babbles to her and stuff. And Jin is freaking out. He's like,
Hey, I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home?
You're excused.
What? But Maegu's pretty excited, actually. She's like, there's potential in this, so much power. At this point, Jin comments on how the Oduksini, beings that once called the Land of Morning Light home, have been thriving just under a different name across the Maegu Sea. While we aren't told for sure at this point, it is implied that this is where Maegu invites the Black Spirit into her full power. And that's the information that we have so far from like the lore episodes from YouTube. So now we're going to get into the Secession questline information. This is what is currently happening in present day. That is stuff that all happened a decade ago. We pick up with Woosa first. She travels across Maegu with her fan, and it is implied that shortly after arriving, she too was inhabited by a black spirit and lost her memories. So she wandered for 10 years. At some point, she and her sister had a big conflict, and her sister sealed part of her power away just to be a bitch, I guess. Also, some of her students from the Wudo school come across the sea to look for her, actually. We follow their traces for a bit, and a young sorceress ends up appearing before Woosa and tells her about the others that came through there and the traces they left. Woosa follows the faint traces of dome magic around Medea, several memories of places from Land of the Morning Light coming back to her as she does. But eventually Elezra pops up and tells her that she's wasting her time chasing down the traces of the Do users, and she implies that Woosa's fellow Wudo members have long gone to, quote, a place unwelcome to the living, which is nice and ominous. Thanks for that, Elezra. Elezra then tells us that she ran across Woosa's sister and recently found that something was in her possession that belonged to Woosa, and so she came to return it. After you fight her, of course. It wouldn't be a Secession questline if we didn't have to fight Elezra. The item was a fox charm that had stolen and sealed away a big portion of Woosa's Do powers. So after she defeats the illusion, she regains those. And that is where we are with Woosa currently. Picking up with Maegu, her black spirit points out a mysterious sound inside of her that sounds like a fox crying, which I feel is a little alarming. And so she goes to Tarif to ask if anyone has any advice about talking to spirits that live in their bodies, because I guess in Tarif people know about that stuff. The same young sorceress from the Woosa Secession questline is the one that bought the last spirit jar, which is what we are recommended to purchase by the Chief of Tarif. Chief of Tarif. So Maegu puts her hands on the jar, and a fox spirit comes forth and talks to her. The fox spirit seems hurt that they haven't spoken in such a long time, and they call out Maegu's weird behaviors and how she's not usually this calm. And the fox is like, oh wait, shit, you still haven't gotten your memories back. Well, that's unfortunate.
Oh no! Anyway.
The fox also says that recovering their power is the most important thing. Certain parts of the pact that binds Maegu and her fox spirit have been broken because of the White Witch Elezra.
What does the fox say?
The fox says that they intend to break the current ties that bind them to Maegu in order to forge a new functional pact. The fox tasks her with amassing 3 different kinds of profane energy in order to form these ties. Once she collects enough of this, Elezra actually appears and gives Maegu a more stable source for the pact, which is a soul flame. She says not to ask where it came from, because while curiosity killed cats, it can do the same for foxes. Very ominous. Thank you for that, Elezra. So once Maegu defeats Elezra's shadow, she gets her pact with her fox all settled away and her powers back to their fullest because Elezra's like, it's only fair since I gave your sisters back. And such. She also teases her quite a bit, like, oh ha ha, your little sister, bit 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 bit. Like, it's very Elezra. And that's where we leave Maegu.
You got all that, honey?
So yeah, this is the first part. Oof. This is the first part of the Woosa Maegu lore saga. So, are you team Woosa or Maegu? I really like Maegu's chaotic personality, but as far as gameplay goes, I'm definitely more of a Woosa fan for a variety of reasons, but that is my personal opinion. Both the sisters have really cool lore, and I can't really be like, one of them is cooler than the other in terms of their lore because they're so interconnected. Yeah, let me know down in the comment section which class you prefer and why. I really appreciate it when you guys leave comments. It makes me happy to see that there are, in fact, other people out there who are interested in the stories Black Desert has to offer. I hope that this video was fun to watch or to listen to and was informative in some way. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. Thank you to my supporters for making my content possible. If you would like to support the channel and future lore videos, you can do so by becoming a member or donating on Ko-fi or subscribing on Twitch. Links are in the description. So yeah, thank you again so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time here in the library.